we are working with the Better at Home program, which is we're working along with Rotary Lodge to get that implemented in Saanich, and it's going very well. But that funding is set for periods of time, so we wouldn't know if we were getting that again. Depends on what the United Way does with the Better at Home program. That's my understanding. That's it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sanders, and then Plant.
My lights are out.
I think he's got my lights.
There we go. I just want to make a comment. I hope you have in your calendar that the Heritage Festival is going to visit here in September.
Oh, so much fun. I love all these events. Great. Yeah, we'll get it.
Councillor Plant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question to you. I'm just curious, the volunteer mileage, do you have a feeling that the mileage is a deal breaker for the volunteers?
No, it's not. For the most part, but I think for some, with the cost of gas, it's just an added bonus. And we pay, it's fairly low what we pay compared to other organizations. But it's for some of them it is a help, that's for sure.
Okay. I just would never have thought to have assumed that was a part of the volunteering opportunity for reimbursement.
We get quite a bit that goes back to us because we ask them for their mileage every month, we track everything, and then a lot of them receive it back in a taxable receipt at the end of the year. It's their choice which way they go.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, up next is the Saanich Marine Rescue Society. Is there a representative from the Saanich Marine Rescue Society here tonight? All right, up next is the Saanich Fusion Football Club.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and thanks for the opportunity to present to you this evening. My name is Pip White, and I'm the treasurer of Saanich Fusion. With me is Barry Keefe, our president. Saanich Fusion was formed as a merger in February 2011 between Gordon Head and Turtle Bay Soccer Clubs. We've been in existence since 1957, providing opportunities for residents of Saanich of all ages to play soccer, develop skills, learn about the game, referee. We currently have over 1,300 members, about 60% are youth players, ages 4 to 18. About 40% are senior players, and our oldest active player is 73. We provide opportunities to play games at all competitive levels. We've sent teams to provincials. In addition to that, we have a long history of working with Saanich to develop facilities. In the last 15 years, we built 2 turf fields at Lochside Park and at Tyndall Park, and the clubhouse at Tyndall. We've repaid $750,000 in loans to build those facilities to the municipality on time and in full. We've never missed a payment, and we've made our full payments all the time. And that leads us to the reason for our application for the grant this year is to upgrade the field lighting at Tyndall Park. That lighting is currently 30 years old. A lot of the seals around the lights they're rubber and they're wearing. We've noticed over the last 2 or 3 years we've had increased costs replacing bulbs and ballast to keep the lights operational. That can be challenging in January and February when the fields are wet and we can't get the machine in to get up to do the repairs on the lights, and that creates a player safety issue. It's mostly senior teams that play night games, but there's also practices going on during the week. But some of the senior leagues have questioned the safety of the current lighting for playing games at night. We're proposing to replace the existing lighting with an LED system. There'll be 3 main benefits of doing this project. First and foremost, it will actually be better for the residents surrounding the field because there's less backwash. It's a more focused lighting system going directly on the field. So they'll see an improvement that they don't get the light shining into their houses. the player safety issue you mentioned, because the LED lights are more focused, brighter. And then there's an energy saving to the club, which will reduce our operating costs, and in addition, less maintenance of the LED lighting system. That's all we have to say. Any other questions?
Thank you. What did you bring with you?
This is actually a aerial photograph, just to give you an idea of what the fields look like. So the clubhouse is right here, obviously, and the two light standards that are here are, they're really, the lighting itself is more of a practice level lighting, so it's already, even as it was, best as a practice level. So amongst the city, this for the facility is really to get it in the kind of comparability for
Captain.
and now we're just finding that if we use two bulbs with the ISL, which is the men's league, last year we lost 3 weeks with the playing time, because they were worried that this wasn't provided enough safety individual lighting. So what we're really worried about is that every year we're spending now between $2 and $5 grand just on lifts and ballasts and lights, maintaining, and as Pip had said, our ability to get down the hills into these areas is really limited in this kind of weather, and so we end up in a position where we're just not able to play safely at some of the games. So we're really at the end of the lifespan. We've managed to do a fair amount of fundraising as it sits right now. We probably have $100,000 that we could access. We're looking to apply for grants from the Gaming Commission this year, which will allow us, we can't use those monies for the lights, but it will allow us to pay a program cost of that money, which would free up other monies to go for those lights. We've just had a car raffle where we've raised 20 grand, just finished off at Christmas time. We were very close. We would like to do them not for this fall, but we would like to do them if we can next year at this time for the September completion, September 17th.
We should we'll be applying for BC Hydro grant either in conjunction with Senate. We've been in discussion with Mark Boyson, our sustainability planner. They're announcing what their program is going to be in April and accepting applications in May.
Thank you. Questions from council? Councillor Haynes and then Platt.
Good to see you. It's a great project, and your group is amongst an elite group who've been able to fundraise so well, and including the development of your projects there with the interest-free loan payment. So, and I understand you have the other grant applications. Can you give us a sense of why you want the grant in this case versus an interest-free loan? Is there something happening there that makes you...
Well, to be honest, we would like both, if possible. The reality is right now, as it sits, we look at it. We have the turf field and the 2 lit fields of grass and the turf at Lockside and the clubhouse there, field house. We have our own Tyndall clubhouse, which is still in very good shape, and try to make sure we stay right on top of the maintenance. But the 2 turf fields were put in 08, and they had a warranty of 15 years. So we're a little over halfway through the lifespan. And to replace those 2 turfs will be approximately $350,000 each. So that's $700,000. And with the lights at Lockside, they're currently, same issue, they're starting to go. The seals are on. So within another 10 years, we are looking potentially at $1 million worth of maintenance costs, and so it's $100,000 a year. And we think we can do it, but we are scratching every point to draw those numbers together.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Plant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you first to staff, just when we look at this grant, operating grant summary page 3 or page 177, I noticed that this is listed under an ongoing. Is the intent of this to be an ongoing, or is this a one-time only? Okay, thank you very much. I'm seeing nodding for the record that it is one-time only. Gentlemen, you commented that you have fundraising efforts going on, and given that this is a one-time only and council is going to have difficulty finding ways to meet everybody's request, what do you need now to get over the hill, so to speak? Because you've indicated you're close already in your fundraising. So yes, I'm sure everybody would love the $25,000 if that was available, but what do you need to complete this project?
Currently, our estimate is the total cost of the project is $225,000 to $250,000. It's a bit difficult for us to, cash in hand today with this grant, we would have $125,000, we'd be halfway there. To some extent, it depends, if we were to get a building grant, as Barry indicated, that frees up money from registration, and our other source of revenue is principally tournaments. We run a very successful adult 77 program that has leagues and tournaments. If that continues to grow, that will continue to contribute revenue to the club that can be put towards this project. Additional fundraising activity, we're in the process of reviewing the car raffle we did. It was a huge effort to do it, and we're trying to assess whether the amount of money we raised at the end of the day was worth the effort, or there are other things we can do that require less volunteer time and yield a better result.
I should perhaps declare a little bit of conflict of interest in that I used to be a coach about 15 years ago for North Penn Soccer. I don't think that's probably going to matter now. The reason I ask partly is because what's in front of us for the budget estimate is $112,000 to $117,000, and now I'm seeing it's $200,000. Is that for two of them?
It actually explains in there that the $112,000 to $117,000 was the estimate we were given a year ago by Musco Lighting. That was only for the lights and the standards and the bases. You've got labor, delivery costs, taxes in addition to that. So we'd estimated that would take the cost up to about $175,000. Subsequent to that, the board made the decision, partly in consultation with Mark Poison, that we should go to the LED lighting rather than halide lighting. That why would you put in a system that's going to be there for 30 years and not use the new technology? And in addition, we've had a 7% reduction in the Canadian-US dollar exchange rate. So that's where we've sort of gone from 112,000 to the 225 to 250.
Okay, so again, then the last question I would have is, this is going to be undertaken starting in the 2017 year?
No, we'll actually start soon because we'll have to go through a community consultation process with the surrounding residents about what it's going to mean for them, engineering, planning, and our view would be we'd have all that work done and be starting construction this time next year.
So I guess the only concern that I have is if you only are halfway there for the funds, how are you going to pay for this if you haven't got the funds yet?
Well, in actual fact, the 117 to 125 was largely Musco. And then there was about another 30,000 that we would have to have in kind for putting in the light standards, because the current light standards as they are right now can't reuse the bases. As they are right there, they would be moved farther out. So when we did the turf field in 08, we re-sleeved and did pull boxes down both sides so that we could bring in the new power. And so we estimated there was probably about $30,000 that we would have to make up in a shortfall that we were hoping to get for in-kind, the same as we did when we did the two turf fields themselves in the clubhouse. So the additional costs, if we're able to bring them down, we might be able to bring that down just by in-kind labor for, the stuff that must go down.
Thank you.
Councilor Drummond and Councilor Newman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for you. First of all, I really want to express my appreciation to the two gentlemen and others in your organization who spend so much time and provide infrastructure within our parks. And I think that we owe you a huge debt of gratitude in that respect. My question is more to staff. In the past, we have had quite a number of programs where we put in new fields, artificial fields in many cases, and combined a system of grants and interest-free loans. But I don't, I may be mistaken, but I don't believe those processes went through the usual granting process, but we had a separate process. Am I incorrect in that? Haven't done them for a while, actually, but I think it came in a somewhat different manner.
So I think through the mayor to Council German, it was part of my tenure, so I needed to get a little bit of background information. The opportunity, the previous opportunity with this organization was handled through the parks budget, so it was done through a different process. Again, we could look at what other options are available for an infrastructure type project.
I would like to see that happen, because I think these kind of projects are hugely worthy of support, but they do also put a distortion in the usual granting process. So I'd like to look back at the way we funded these in the past and see if there is opportunity to repeat that process.
Through the mayor, we can provide that information when the deliberation is on April 19th, so you have that available in advance of that.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Workman.
Thank you very much. Just of interest, other fields that we've lighted, the community has not embraced it. And coming back to the lighting, coming back to the longer playing times, you sense things
Excuse me,
have
we
changed?
don't anticipate longer playing times. We'll still stop at 10 every day.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll show you just quickly on this set of lighting as it was. The new lights that are at the new decorates, they shine down. These were slightly shorter standards and they shine across. So we've done light meters testing on, and the wash from these is very significant. And the managed circle on this side is probably getting the most direct hit that they'll ever get on these old lights, because these do shine across.
I believe you,
Yeah.
but you just have to convince the people around the park.
And that's partly why we want to start now, because we know that's an issue. I mean, we field calls all the time as the lights get left on. There's one man in particular that's very quick to phone us at 10:02 and say, your lights are still on, get somebody to turn them off. We actually think this is a better solution for the residents, because it will actually improve things for them. They won't have as much interference from the lights on the field.
The actual Musco's, their assessment of the amount of wash is part of their package. And theirs is significantly less than what ours is currently.
They think it could be as much as 50% less.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, Zena, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Now, next, the Peninsula Stream Society.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Ian Bruce. I'm a registered professional biologist and executive coordinator with Peninsula Stream Society. We've been operating in Saanich for 14 years on Todd, Colquitt's, and Noble Creek watersheds. And we thank you for your grant in 2015 for $10,000. We were very successful at leveraging your contribution last year, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Our summary for 2015, in stewardship, we provide financial, technical, administrative, and functional support to community stewards. We created opportunities for people to volunteer and restore natural areas, and we initiated a new stewardship group called Colquitt's Main Stem Stewards. We support the Friends of Swan Creek, the Friends of Todd Creek Watershed, the Friends of Maltby Lake. We have lots of friends. Goldenrods and Reels on Elk Lake, the Colquitt's Coalition, and the Goward Springs Stewards. In total, thousands of volunteer hours have been expended with our support. For example, the Swan Creek volunteers put in 515 hours on their stream this year. Their environmental education program, we design and engage with supervised delivery at no charge schools and students. 555 Saanich municipality students engaged in 2,300 hours of restoration activities and learning in our grade 3 and grade 6 programs. In projects, we identify, design, and create partnerships and access funding and deliver, report, and monitor projects. We work with Saanich Engineering and Parks on these projects. For example, I want to talk about leveraging on projects. The Swan Creek Capital City Allotment Gardens project, it was a $46,000 project with $17,000 from Saanich in kind. Todd Creek Flats project was $240,000 in total with $15,000 from Saanich in kind and a sign. I'd like to note that this work on Todd Creek used to be undertaken by the Saanich municipality regularly, but it had been lapsed for 40 years. Colquitt Stewardship Initiative, $30,000, and some Saanich time. Elk Lake Stewardship, we invested about $7,000 of money we hadn't planned to invest, but we did. So in total, $325,000 in projects came into Saanich in 2015, and with Saanich contributing $32,000 to that total budget, or about 10%. Most of the grant money received comes from little or no support for project development, administration, reporting, or monitoring. Some, like the Pacific Salmon Nation, will not allow for payment for project management and delivery. So we intend to apply for several $100,000 of projects in Saanich for the next 3 years, and we need your support to access, deliver, and operate under these grants. Major initiatives for Colquitt's Elk Lake system, as well as Todd Creek and the Headwater Lakes. So we're requesting this year $15,000 to better able to leverage money that will be spent on the environment in Saanich. With your support, we can continue to create good outcomes for the people and the environment of Saanich. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for PSS? Councillor Flynn.
Thank you very much for what you do in our community. My quick question would be, if the $15,000 is not given and only the 10, can I ask you what the resulting loss might be in service and what programs?
Well, we might just go into a deficit again, like we did a couple of years ago, but then we came out of it last year. So $5,000 wouldn't break us, but it would hold us back. We've lost about $4,000 in funding from Hydro. They changed their granting structure on us, all of a sudden, and so that's put a little bit of a bump in the road. But we think we'll be able to go down. But we really do need the support from municipalities. We do, to be able to go out and get the funds to do the projects.
Any more questions? Councillor Bryce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And once again, thank you for the great work you do. On the statement from Glenn Davidson, CGA, where he comments on the balance sheet up to December 2014, have you got
Yes.
something more current?
That's a very good question, and I was anticipating that question. We've actually had, Mr. Davidson had some personal issues, and we had some troubles with him, and we've gone to a new accounting firm, and we will have new financials probably in about 2 weeks. So we can provide them as soon as we get them, if you would like.
I think it would be good in that, obviously, when we're talking about public money, it's good that we have all the documentation, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Councillor Haynes.
I'll join council in recognising the great work you've done. The little presentation you read out there about the dollar value and bringing in, I wonder if you could attach that to the figure as well, because that sort of gives us an indication of the kind of project leverage you're doing. And it's not actually in this time.
Right. So, and there's RFCBP, the DFO funding program that's come out, is now, looks like it's going to be 3 more years, about $28 million nationwide, and we intend to get our share of that. So that's the recreational fisheries money. So, and you can't apply for it, but I can. So.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
All right, up next is Moms Like Us. See them in the back there. Welcome back.
Yes, nice to see you again. Hello, council members and mayor. My name's Cherry Lynn Brown, and this is Jackie Powell, and we're the founding members of Moms Like Us, which is an advocacy group. We're trying to establish a Clubhouse International here in the Greater Victoria area. So we didn't want to repeat what we did last night, so we've tried to make it different for you tonight. This was a bulletin put out by the New York Clubhouse International. The world is talking about mental health reform, so are we. One thing we know for sure is that people living with mental illness are often alone, overlooked and invisible in their own communities. We also know that if their situations were turned around, these same individuals would thrive. I'd like to share with you that I have a son at home, and for 6 years now I've been looking after him, and I know this to be true. Clubhouse, years of experience, study, and research has shown that access to a caring community of support can make all the difference for a person isolated by his or her disability. Belonging somewhere in a caring community might be the single most effective and accessible means of preventing acts of desperation, hospitalization, imprisonment, or worse. With 1 in 4 families facing mental illness each year, it's high time we recognized our collective obligation to create and support places in every community where people living with mental illness can find the hope and inclusion they so desperately need. Establishing an accredited clubhouse in every town and city in the world, in much the same way that every community has a library, a post office, or community center, would provide a local base of support for the millions of people living with mental illness. It would widen the tent of our society. In place of the isolation, hopelessness, and despair, the expanding ranks of clubhouse members would experience community, employment, hope, and a reason to wake up in the morning. In the Greater Victoria area, 88,000 people live with a mental illness. 20,000 of those live with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar, anxiety disorder, etc. I would also like to add, and not to criticize municipal governments, Canada's performance compared to other countries, including recent housing investments and the development of the Mental Health Commission of Canada. Canadian investments in mental health represent mental health spending of $5.22 per capita in 2011, compared to $187.51 invested in healthcare generally. This pales in comparison with the UK $62.22, remember the $5.22, Australia $98.13, and New Zealand $198.93.
I'd like to add that at our presentation last night, we explained our commitment to establish this program for people 18 and over with a mental illness, not to be confused with developmental delays. That's a different issue altogether. Clubhouse International offers holistic rehabilitation to people who are struggling with mental illness to re-enter the community successfully. Housing, employment, education, wellness, and socialization is all under one roof. It is one-stop shopping. This offers a seamless transition from the psychiatric ward into the world of friendships, employment, and education. I do have a few highlights, but I'll skip over those. I think you've all read the material I sent, I hope. But I'd like to summarize by saying thank you, Mayor and Council, for your upcoming letter of support. And we would appreciate any financial assistance you can help us with, a grant to help us develop a short film, for example. We want to do this to tell us local stories and statistics. Also, we need help with developing this program and also transportation costs to visit our mentor in Richmond, the Pathways Clubhouse there. So thank you very much, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, any questions? We did see you last night, so we had the opportunity for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next is the Maritime Museum of British Columbia Society.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Don Friddy, and I'm the new president of the Maritime Museum in British Columbia. And this is David Leverton. He's our new executive director, so we're all new. Before we start, I just want to say, as a Saanich resident, I haven't sat through one of these events for a long time, and I'm duly impressed, not only by the diversity of the services in this community, but the amount of work you guys do to go through all this. So my hat's off to you. It's a lot of work. So, most of you, I'm sure, will have been aware of our, rough seas that we've been through over the last year and a half or so with the Maritime Museum. And, we've been moved out of our home of 51 years and without any obvious place to go right at this point in time. But we stand here before you with a new board, new lean staff, and a new energy moving forward. We have been collecting and preserving our marine heritage for 57 years now, and we have an outstanding collection that's really worth saving and fighting for. And so we're here to further the fight.